We are recorded, so it says meeting recorded in progress, so you should be able to see that in your screen as well. So, okay, Stonington K-12 Building Committee is starting at 4:06. Chuck Warrington with Colliers Project Leaders. We also have June Strunk, Blunt White, Bob Mitchell via phone, Greg Smalley from DRA, Jim Barrett from DRA, and Nate Gengarell from Gilbane Building Company. Is that anybody else we're missing? I think we have everybody there.
I think that's everybody.
Okay, so as you know, this is being recorded, so for clarification of the recording, if anybody, if we make any statements or discuss anything, if you could be so kind as to just state your name before we talk, even though we can see it here, that would be helpful for the recording. Okay, so Chuck here, Chuck Warrington. So I'll just go with a financial status report. Dean's Mill. Pretty similar to the last time we spoke. Our remaining balance is projected at $2,471,000. That does take into account an estimated return of general conditions and CM contingency of approximately $763,000 from Gilbane. Keep that in mind. That might have fluctuated while they're doing some of their final punch lists and so forth, but it shouldn't vary too much from that. So that's based upon that premise. There. Just looking in the unpaid column, obviously Gilbane has a big chunk of that here, about $1 million. I'm going to zoom in just so it's not too small. $1,624,000. A lot of that is CM contingency, general conditions, but the others mostly retainage, I think, Nate, from your end.
Yeah, that's correct, Chuck.
Yeah. So FF&E. Loose furnishing.
I have a question. So you said that's CM contingency and that 1.6, so that's unpaid. So
that's unpaid.
That's anticipated to all be paid out.
No. So contractually, we have $28,634,000, and let me just bring up the invoice packet with their invoice June. So this is their cover sheet here.
So the question is that there's more that will be transferred to the bottom line balance. There could be.
Correct. So what I'm saying here is contractually, Gilbane's contract is for $28,634,000.
Okay.
We're estimating, based upon looking at the scrub and all their costs, potentially having a return of about $750,000. Let's just say $750,000. In this plan but not contracted. So the bottom line is we're saying that the final cost we expect it to be less than what we actually have contracted. So they haven't formally given us the money back yet. It's still in their contract. But once they do the change order to return it, we're hoping to get that approximately that amount back.
All right. So the $762 that's planned but not contracted return is actually in the unpaid.
That is correct. It's a part of the unpaid balance.
All right.
Yeah,
that was my question. All right.
Yep, 100%. Yep, it's part of that. So we won't pay 1.6. Hopefully pay half of that roughly for that.
Right.
Okay. And the same will be for West Vine. FF&E were pretty much paid out for the most part. The program-related equipment, I'm just going to bring that up for Dean's Mill. So this is kind of nice so we can see these. So you can kind of see what the remaining balances are here. If we approve the scoreboard, I got this late, by the way, Blunt and Bob. I got an invoice from the scoreboard contractor today. They're looking to install it next week. He was wondering if we can pay for the materials. I said I'll submit it to the committee and you can vote on that. But if you, most of that, by the way, so the PDF isn't updated with this payment, so this line item 8.8, that's all the scoreboard right there. It doesn't take into account the invoice. Loose furnishings, about $2,000, and audio visual equipment. That's for the digital signage that Chris Wilson's working on with CBS. I haven't heard anything, but given our situation, I think they're probably on a pause, I'm guessing. So not much left to pay there. Is good?
Okay.
Showing architect about $3,500. Greg's probably going, where's that money at? Who do we not bill? Hazmat, I don't anticipate this being filled. I think that we're all done with that. Project management, us, we're about 11,000 left out of the 15 if you approved. Building commissioning's got a minor one. I think I actually have a leftover invoice that we'll have to get them paid, but I'm not worried about that too much. So all in all, you really don't have much left over for that's unpaid at this point, mostly the Gilvains that we discussed. And then the plan but not contracted for Dean's Mill, I'll just bring up the contingency log. This is the live log right here. Most of this is the sinks, 75,000 for sinks. And then we have an exposure for the heat detector in the MDF room. I don't know if we've actually done anything with that yet at this point that I'm aware of. Nate, have we installed anything there?
The last I remember, Chuck, pertaining to that was that Peter was actually going to take the reins on that.
Okay.
Is that incorrect, or?
It sounds about right. It's been a while.
Yes.
So would that be through Board of Ed, June, if that's the case?
No, it's just that it's still through K through 12.
Okay.
It's still through us, but they were going to get they were going to help us get the contractor, get a couple quotes.
Gotcha.
So,
I'll leave that in there then. The other one's the expansion tank, so that's obviously changing. We're going to be discussing that later on at Dean's Mill. I expect that probably from looking at the scope for the work and then inside the work out in the site to take out the meter and put a new meter in, probably looking at, I'm guessing 20, 25 grand for this. I mean, I have no idea. It's not going to be fine.
Yeah, it's hard to put a number on it. I did send it out to both Mizzy and Ferguson today to see if I could get an order of magnitude in time for this meeting, but I couldn't. So It's in their hands, and they're pricing it up right now.
Okay, so I'm going to bump that up, June, Bob, and Blunt. I bumped that up to 25,000, so that's going to affect the bottom line a little bit. We're still okay, but I just want to make sure we're counting for that. Because that's definitely something we need to do. So if we go to West Vine financial summary, if we're okay there. Bottom line is $1,134,000 right now for the bottom line, so we're still looking good there. Again, we have 75,000 for the sinks.
okay.
Similar to Dean's Mill, the unpaid for Gilvain's 1.7, but we're expecting almost half of that to come back out of that unpaid, subject to final closeout. In there, FF&E, we got a few items that are still out there: scoreboards, digital signage. I think this is some leftover that's probably not going to be paid, and then Luke's furnishing is probably going to be paid.
That's quite the assortment.
Yeah. Hazmat's pretty much closed out. There's us, building commissioning, materials testing. I have to check that. It shouldn't be a negative unpaid, but pretty much everybody's been closed out except for Gilvain for the most part. So, again, I think you're in good shape for West Vine. Invoices. Okay. Invoice packets, pretty straightforward. Again, I did add this one for Northeast Scoreboards just today, and I'm recommending that we consider paying them a portion of the bill, and then once they complete it, we'll pay him for the rest. He's kind of a one-man operation. Cash flow is king for him right now, especially given COVID. The other consideration, June and Blunt and Bob, is, do we approve the whole thing, subject? Because if they're going to install it next week, it's going to be probably another month till we meet. And if it's all installed and accepted, I'd like to be able to get them paid sooner than later, but that's up to you guys what you feel.
So we can approve the entire invoice. I'm just trying to think.
Can we just hold it?
Yeah, no, but contingent upon final installation. If it's going to be this next week, then we can just pay it all at once.
that's what I'm expecting is next week, and but if it doesn't happen, he's supposed to be getting the delivery. I said, well, if you can send me pictures that it's in your shop and we have it, we can certainly support paying for the materials at the very least. But then if he installs it next week, maybe we release the rest. Maybe we have a discussion on that.
Yeah, because I think we can, because didn't we pay invoices, we paid it. We paid invoices over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Nothing on
even
this
though we
yet,
didn't have not on this, but even though we didn't have a full committee vote? I wonder if that's even in...
I'll have to go back and look.
Okay. Well, we should probably check on that in the next meeting we have if there's something we need to formally approve, and we need to do that.
I think I have, I'll just look in the last meeting. Invoices. Trying to see if it got signed by Rob. Don't have that, but okay. Yeah, we'll check on that. So just basically it's Gilbane's, and so Nate, what I've been doing, I think before you got on, maybe you saw the tail end, is I'm keeping a track of the bid packages that we've released retainage on. Here.
Sure.
The actual requisition, the Gilbane requisition, so that later the auditors need to find that final requisition. We can find it pretty easy.
Yeah.
I've been also extracting them into a separate folder for the final payments, so it's easier to find for there. And then we talked about some of the waivers. So 27 and 30, we don't have any of the waivers made, so if you guys can follow up with that, we emailed about that already.
Sure, we'll get back to you by the end of the week.
So, but for the committee blunt, you can see we have the bid packages. Try to zoom this in a little bit. The contractor's name, whether we release retainage, and when. So, simple log. But basically, if you go to their continuation sheet, wherever it has a 0, retainage to date, that means we've released retainage. There. That's another way to look at it. Most of this payment, I think, is probably release of retainage for the most part. Some partial payments, but mostly release. And then those Colliers for the last month. So John Copeless, he's one of our senior PIMs. He's been helping me reconcile all the change orders, making sure they've been submitted with the state change orders, making sure we didn't miss any. Trying to get us ready to do that, reconcile the state change orders, review of those, follow up on the water meter and service changes. So that's some of the activities we had. This is what we provide with hourly efforts. So you can see what we've done. West Vine invoice packet, very similar. Gilbane, Northeast, and Fires. So.
June, just a quick question. It's Blunt speaking. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
On Chuck's invoice, do you want to put your name on those? I think the other invoices all have Chuck's name on them with the red stamp, and that looks good. Should we have something on that one there with somebody's signature approving that with me?
Oh, well, for Collier's name?
Exactly.
Well, Blunt, once you approve them all, we have Rob sign the cover sheet.
Okay, so we're going by that then. I'm just thinking if anybody audits this and goes back and says, well, who approved that? And does that make any sense? We've done it everywhere else where you find that we're counting on Chuck who has looked at it and passed the stick test. And so I was just thinking I don't really know what the audit process looks like, but if I was an auditor, I would look at the summary, and then I'd want to go back and look at some of the things that are feeding into the summary, and then I would be saying, well, did everybody approve those? And or am I thinking too much?
No, you actually, That might be something for Chuck when you do the final closeout, if that's something Jim Sullivan can just stamp.
Yeah, so what can happen?
Just Collier's invoices. You know, because I know that we go. Yeah, go ahead.
The stamps are required. So our stamp, just so you know, our stamp is to let the client know that we've reviewed them. We reviewed them against the contract. We concur with them, and we recommend for payment. Because, you know, like for the FF&E, we want to make sure that did we get all the chairs? Did we get all the desks? All we're saying is, yes, we've checked it. We recommend it, that the invoice is fair, et cetera. So that's all our stamp does. The state doesn't require a stamp. That's purely a Collier's thing.
Okay.
The same thing with the invoice packet. We use this to help facilitate payment from the town so that you don't have to wait till the next meeting to approve the meeting minutes. It helps the finance people say, yes, the building committee did in fact approve it. It's not state required, but
That's mostly for us.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yep. Your meeting minutes is what the state auditors, by the way, will look for. They're going to look for the meeting minutes and what we do in our system to try to help them in all these, and you don't get to see this too much because of the way we do our meetings, but for example, DRA, for example, you can see other invoices, right? And what we have is this is the date of your building committee meeting that you approved those specific invoices. So you have every single one, the amount approved, and the date. So they can go and say, look at the building committee dated November 15, 2016, and see the motion to approve that, hopefully.
Thanks, Chuck.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, trying to get audit ready. Agreed, Lumber. We're trying to set up our folders so that when the auditors get there, hopefully we make their job easier. That's my goal.
Looks like you're doing what needs to be done.
Trying. We're constantly evolving the process. We closed out our last job. I just closed out finally the Orchard Hill job that we did with TRA and Gilbane, and I was able to really almost do our own audit, and I was able to close those out very well, and kind of close all the loose ends, if you will.
So when we approve tonight the invoices for Gilbane, that's what we're doing. The school folks are okay with releasing the retainage slices of those, right? They're happy.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're looking at our punch list. Yeah, I mean, it's talking with Peter Anson. Do we get a formal sign off? No. I don't have a form that it says, you know, Van or Peter to sign off, if that's what you're asking. However, you know, we'll have our updated, I have our updated issues log, if you will, that Nate's updated, I've updated. I know Greg's looked at it. We only have, and I think I sent that out as well to the whole committee to see as well. We can review. I can bring that up also.
And we're not allowing retainage release for any contractors that have outstanding punch list items as well, just so you know.
That's perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. So we got the two totals, it looks like. Yep.
There, and you got there. So with that, are we good with the finance subcommittee where we want to close that?
I think so. Yep. I think so.
I'll stop where's my recording button here? Bear with me. There it is.